Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Daily Blend. I am your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Ken Rice, who is a candidate for CPS Board of Education. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing well, AC. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so with the time we have, we're going to jump right in. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're running, and what your priorities are.
Well, so I'm a combat vet, which I'm very proud of. I served in the Gulf War.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. That's one of my accomplishments I'm most proud of. The other thing is I've been in the business community for over 30 plus years. I owned a business, Wendy's and Tim Hortons franchise in Michigan for about 16 years. Currently, I'm the chief operating officer for a local sandwich shop that is regionally now called Pickleman's that started here back in 2005. A friend of mine, Doug Stritzel, started it. And, and we're at 32 units right now in 7 different states. We're probably going to add 2 more states this year, as well as 5 to 10 more units this year. So very excited about that expansion. The other thing is my wife, Rebecca, we've been married for going on 17 years now. We have 5 children, 3 daughters and 2 sons. And then lastly, I used to be one more thing is I spent 15 years as an executive member of a board for Spalding for Children. I'm very proud of that. They're a charity out of Michigan that helps kids that are tough to adopt. I'm adopted. One of my daughters is adopted. We would help those. So kids that are disadvantaged, kids that have mental or physical problems, not the typical pretty baby. These are the kids that had physical, mental abuse, that were given up and were stuck in foster homes. And we try to get them forever families. And when I was a business owner, I used to host these meet and greets, and we did them for 5 years, and over that time, we were able to get 10 kids adopted through putting the kids that needed to get together with the families, and it was a blessing. And in fact, there's a young man I still mentor. I started mentoring him when he was 13. He's now 25. He's struggling. I miss him because he's in Michigan. I'm here. It was a lot easier to mentor him when I was there. And then lastly, I'm very active in my church here. I'm a deacon. I'm the Sunday school director. I'm also the head of the finance department. So quite a few things that are going on here. Why I'm running is I just had a lot of friends that ended up being teachers here in town, and there's just a lot of discontent for different reasons, and this is even before I decided to run. And then one day, one of the people that I know is actually a Sunday school teacher of mine, and she also is a 25-year-plus special ed teacher, called me just in tears how she was wanted to quit after all these years. It was just a horrible environment. It was just terrible. And she says, we need people like you, and I never thought about it. And she goes, you bring people together. You understand leadership. You know how to do this. And it made me start thinking. I was praying on it, and I'll tell you, I probably said no about 4 times. But every time I'd say no and I'd pray, God would put something in my path that said, you need to do this. So, I knew it was going to be an upward battle. People that don't get endorsed by the NEA haven't been elected in the last 15 years. However, I feel like if God put it on my heart, I'm going to do my best. I believe that I can, with the background that I also have a leadership coaching business, that I could add some value. And I do think that some of the problems that are going on, with CPS, I could help solve. And I think new voices. I'll be honest. I think having Erica. I think she. One of the people. I don't look at running against. There's 2 spots, and there's 3 of us running. But I think having some new voices will be helpful on the board. And my 3 priorities are, transparency. I think there's a lack of trust right right now with CPS from all stakeholders, and I think it can be solved. I think we just need to be more transparent, and I have some thoughts of how we can do it. Number two is common sense governance. We focus on a lot of things, but there's a lot of people, especially the disadvantaged folks, and I have a special ed son that was in special ed. He's now a manager for me, but I dealt with IEPs all throughout my life, and the disadvantaged, low income, minority students, as well as special ed students, they're falling through the cracks, and we're just not catching them. And then I see we're patting ourselves on the back for good APR scores. Well, that's great, but the kids who really need the help are still not there, and we're not really digging into that. And then lastly, the area that I want is support for CPS teachers. These teachers, yes, our goal is to take care of the students, but if we don't take care of those teachers, we can't take care of those students. So that's sort of where I am and why I'm running.
Yeah. So I got to ask you before we get out of here.
Yes.
What should kids be doing on AMI days?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I think we already, compared to some other states, we have shortened, we don't have as many in-class days. I think anytime there's an opportunity to have a kid learn, they should be learn. And since you brought it up, one of my problems that I have with a statement by our president, our school board president, was, I don't care about academic rigor. I just care about getting my $1 million. I have a problem with that because at any time you should be worried about academic rigor. I think if you look through our system, we need to look at academic rigor all the way throughout for all of our students. And that is a problem that needs to be addressed.
Well, Ken, how can people find you online?
People can find me at www.kenriceforschools.com.
KenRiceForSchools.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, find Ken at KenRiceForSchools.com. Ken, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
I like to make sure people know who it is that's on the ballot. So we're going to spread this out far and wide so people are introduced to Ken. Now we know who owns Pickleman's.
Well, I don't know him.
Okay.
I'm the chief operating officer.
Well, now we know who's the chief operating officer, so we know who to call if our stuff's not right at
there
Pickleman's.
You go. And it better be right.
It better be right. Ken, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Ken.
All right.